I'd like to segue into the third topic that we planned this year, this week. So we spoke about the intermediary, proposed intermediary guidelines or whatever the changes are. So you have written a piece and you have been interviewed on that also. So please tell our viewers actually what are these changes that we can, and what exactly is happening in that.
So this a lot has been happening and for more than 2 years now. And I truly hope that this is now going to see the light at the end of the tunnel now, because we really need these changes, good, bad or ugly. We can always keep debating till the cows come home, right?
Yeah.
So here is what my wish list is. One, that there has been a lot of confusion. See, we've been talking about various aspects in terms of intermediary liability. I'm also amicus curiae before the Supreme Court in a matter where we are actually dealing with two of the most horrific crimes against women and children: dissemination of child sexual abuse material online, or CSAM, and uploading of rape and gang rape, actual rape and gang rape videos online. In this case of Prajwala, which for the sake of shorter thing, I'll call it Prajwala versus Union of India. So when we are talking about and in that case, we are evaluating the use of artificial intelligence to preemptively not block, but quarantine content until human intervention checks that it is innocuous. It could be a news item, it could just be a movie having a rape scene or something like that. But unless and until it is verified and then uploaded, do not allow it, is the argument that is still going on. It may or may not happen. The reason I'm pointing that out is when we are talking about all this, a lot of issues in terms of intermediary responsibility as well as liability came up. Are they supposed to act as gatekeepers? Aren't they jeopardizing their own safe harbor? Because, under Indian law, you have it under 79 IT Act, and the origin of it came from the US Communications Decency Act 230 section, right? Now, 230 gave this lovely umbrella protection to them, and that article is likely to come out. It's called the 24-word sweetheart deal. So the sweetheart deal is we protect you against anything and everything, because free speech is what ultimately everything is about.
Which is what Trump threatened, right?
Huh?
Which is what Trump threatened to invoke, to revoke.
I'm not even going to go there, because then we'll get into a different conversation there. But long story short, safe harbor is just a protection to an intermediary as long as they don't have control over the content on their platform. So the new proposed guidelines are trying to create this delineation with respect to what is content that is third-party content and what is content which the platform actually does have control over. And this is where it is a very interesting connect to the very first topic we spoke about in terms of the news media, as well as what the platform's algorithms may be enabling.
And also generating content. Yeah. Even social media platforms are actually, they have newsrooms. They have
absolutely. Absolutely. Many social, particularly content generation platforms, right?
They have news editors, they are moderating the content, they're doing everything.
They're doing everything. But then these are all the gray areas where law is still evolving. So clarity in terms of what amounts to third-party content and what amounts to content which is being moderated by a platform and therefore they have to be held liable is a very important aspect which we could expect in the new intermediary guidelines. And I'm hoping that if it is coming in, it would come in a manner where it is precise and clear and not ambiguous again, right? That is one aspect. The second aspect, which MeitY has also given a soundbite on, is with respect to, which is what I have also talked about, the takedown aspect. So if you look at 79 itself, there is already a provision under 79 for takedown under the intermediary rules, which mandates that takedowns have to happen within 36 hours. The only thing that the Supreme Court did in Shreya Singhal versus Union of India was, it struck down, there were three ways you could do a takedown. It struck down one aspect of it. So if a user writes to a platform, there is no, if the platform refuses, even then the platform will retain its intermediary protection, safe harbor, right? However, if the notice goes from a government authority or a court, then it mandatorily has to comply with it within 36 hours. The only protection that is available to the platform is that the order should still comply with Article 19.2, because India's right of freedom of speech is not an unfettered right. It comes with some restrictions or limitations which are captured in Article 19.2. So as long as it falls within that, then the order is sustainable. The issue here is, and I'll bring in this whole thing, the Twitter issue that has been rounds, is who decides whether the order is within Article 19.2 or not. So my opinion is that a corporation cannot decide that, because then that becomes absolute anarchy, because it's not just about a corporation, right? You and I can also start deciding that. We can then start saying, no, but this law is a very bad law. I have my opinion on many laws which are very bad laws. But can I stop complying with the law because I think it's bad, right? If I do that, I can, of course, do that. Yeah, but I will then be liable for it, for a violation, right? So here, the only alternative for anybody who is contesting the constitutionality of an order is to follow due process, which means you then have to go to court to ask for clarity. See, when you're saying a user can abuse, and therefore I don't have to listen to a user who says that a rape video is on your platform, so remove it. Same way, if you feel that a government order is violative, you also have to go to court. No, it's about due process. It's about rule of law. So this is the, sauce for the goose, sauce for the gander thing. It applies both ways. If you want your clarity, you have to follow it through due process. And if you don't, then you will be made liable. But what MeitY has said is that, not everybody wants to go file a civil or a criminal case for them to get this remedy, right? So they have said they will create alternative simple remedies, which will start and stop with a request for a takedown. Just like 69A allows for blocking, here you could just apply. There will be a mechanism which will review the content and ask for the takedown. And since it's a regulated mechanism, it will be permissible under law. And that would be a very, very welcome move, because genuinely, every user does not have the bandwidth or the money power or even the time to keep going to court to get an order for them to take down content. There has to be a slightly higher responsibility from social media platforms. And on this note, again, for every user, the clarification I want everyone to take note of is there is a complete misunderstanding of the Shreya Singhal judgment. Because whenever somebody talks about the judgment, the standard line you will hear is social media does not have to take down content. But that's not what Shreya Singhal said. Shreya Singhal just said that if social media does not take down content also, they will still retain their protection under 79. That's all. That still doesn't mean social media should not act. They can act. You as a user still have the right to write to them. And if they believe that this doesn't work, they will take it down. On many, many occasions in my practice persona, I have sent takedown notices and it has been acted on. So don't lose heart on that. You can still give it a try.
So you mean there is a process which is already there. All that we need to do is to make sure that we follow that process to the extent that, so that we don't have to rush to the court every time that we need to do anything.
Yes, you can still try by sending a notice directly to social media. There are multiple ways in doing that. Some of the things that happened because of Prajwala was this amazing move, which is to have simpler reporting buttons, more straightforward reporting buttons, even on every platform. See, Prajwala was a process where through consensus, we moved ahead a lot. And we also did it because it was not sensationalized. It was just brass tacks, hard brass tacks, and you just get it done kind of process, So you can either write to the platform, you can use the report button, You can also file your criminal complaints online through cybercrime.gov.in. And if you're confused about what are your remedies, how do you approach them, how do you file your complaint, what are the documents you need to put together to help people on all these simple basic questions for which they can't keep running to engage a lawyer. This was the reason why I set up cybersathi.org.
Lovely.
You will find all your answers there, in fact.
So viewers, remember, that was a very interesting aspect of it, but do visit cybersathi.org. I think she has put in a lot of information out there.